Hello students, welcome to my channel Learning History Made Easy. In today's video, I'll be explaining the second topic in your Political Science Chapter 1, that is Indian Independence Act of 1947. Before going into the video, if anyone is seeing the channel for the first time or if you have not subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe and share it with your friends, and also click the bell button to receive notifications whenever I upload new videos. So without wasting time, let us get into today's video. So as I have told, today's video is about the Indian Independence Act of 1947. Okay. The Indian Independence Act of 1947. Okay. So in the last video we have discussed about the Act of 1935. Now what was the background for the Indian Independence Act of 1947? So the Government of India Act 1935, last video we have discussed Government of India Act 1935. We have discussed the provisions of the Act. This Act failed to satisfy the demands of Indians. Okay, it failed to satisfy the Indian demands or Indian people's demands. And after that, in 1939, the Congress reiterated its demand. That is, it again made a list of demands to form a constituent assembly and to frame a constitution for free India. So what did the Congress again ask as a demand? The Congress reiterated its demand, that is to form a constituent assembly, and also one more demand was to frame a constitution for free India. So these were the two main demands which was kept by the Congress, that is to form a constituent assembly and also to frame a constitution for free India. Now it was during this time British government, what the British government did, British government sent Sir Stafford Cripps, okay, Sir Stafford Cripps, okay, he was sent to India and just to see into the demands of the Congress. So when Sir Stafford Cripps came, it was this time that the World War was going on. And during this time, Japan had entered the Second World War. Japan had entered the Second World War during that time, and that is the time when Sir Stafford Cripps came to India. It was during 1942. He came to India and actually they wanted support of Indians because Japan had entered the Second World War. That was the time when Sir Stafford Cripps came to India. But what happened was, when Stafford Cripps came to India, the Indian National Congress did not extend any help. Okay, Indian National Congress did not was not ready to extend any help to the British. Okay, and in order to achieve India's cooperation, now British, what they wanted is they wanted India's cooperation in this Second World War. So in order to achieve India's cooperation, so British wanted India's cooperation, okay, and to achieve India's cooperation, he proposed the formation of Constituent Assembly. So Sir Stafford Cripps, what he did is he proposed the formation of a Constituent Assembly. That was one demand which was kept by the Congress. So Sir Stafford Cripps proposed that a Constituent Assembly can be formed and also to provide dominion status to India. Okay, but these two proposals will be done only at the end of the war, at the end of Second World War. So this was what was said by Sir Stafford Cripps, that is In order to achieve India's cooperation, he proposed the formation of a constituent assembly and also to provide dominion status to India, but only at the end of Second World War. But the proposal, it was understood by Indian National Congress that the British is doing this just to achieve the cooperation of Indians in the World War. So what happened? Both Indian National Congress as well as Muslim League, Indian National Congress as well as Muslim League, they rejected this proposal. The proposal was rejected by both Indian National Congress and Muslim League, and this later led to the Quit India movement. Quit India movement. So all these are the background for the Indian Independence Act of 1947. So the Stafford Cripps proposal was rejected by Indian National Congress as well as Muslim League, and this later led to the Quit India movement. Okay, so that was what happened. And after this, the Wavell Plan, okay, after Stafford Cripps came, next was the Wavell Plan. This plan proposed for the reconstituting the Executive Council of Governor General. It proposed for reconstituting the Executive Council of Governor General with equal seats to Hindus and Muslims. Equal seats to Hindus and Muslims. Okay. So this was the Wavell Plan. That is, Executive Council of Governor General should be reconstituted. And how it should be reconstituted? There should be equal seats for Hindus and Muslims. So that was the Wavell Plan, which came after the after Stafford Cripps came with the proposal that was rejected. Then Wavell Plan proposed for reconstituting the Executive Council with equal seats for Hindus and Muslims. But this also was rejected by Jinnah, that is Muhammad Ali Jinnah. He rejected the plan. This Wavell Plan was rejected by Jinnah, and he stood for a separate Pakistan. Separate Pakistan. He said that equal seats for Hindus and Muslims, they are not agreeing, Muslim League, and they stood for a separate Pakistan. And Labour Party, during this time in England, what was happening? Labour Party came to power. Labour Party came to power in England, and Clement Attlee became the Prime Minister. Clement Attlee became the Prime Minister of England. So that when here Jinnah rejected the Wavell Plan and he asked for a separate Pakistan, that time in England, Labour Party came to power and Clement Attlee became the Prime Minister. And after Clement Attlee became the Prime Minister, okay, he admitted the right of Indians to frame a constitution for free India. So Clement Attlee finally agreed that Indians have the right to frame a constitution. Frame a constitution for free India. So that right was agreed by Clement Attlee, and he admitted the right of Indians to frame a constitution for free India. And in 1946, it was announced that a cabinet mission will be sent to India. It was agreed that a cabinet mission will be sent to India to resolve the issue. And as per the recommendations of Cabinet Mission Plan, the Constituent Assembly was established. Okay, Constituent Assembly, which was the demand of Indians, was finally established. As per the recommendations of the Cabinet Mission's plan, a Constituent Assembly was established in India. So 1946, Cabinet Mission was sent to India to resolve the issues, and as per its recommendations, the Constituent Assembly was established. So this was done by Clement after Clement Attlee came to power. So now just let us go through the points which we have studied till now. That is Indian Independence Act of 1947. The Government of India Act 1935 failed to satisfy the Indian demands. In 1939, the Congress reiterated its demands to form a Constituent Assembly and to frame a constitution for free India. British government sent Sir Stafford Cripps to India in 1942 when Japan just entered the Second World War. Indian National Congress opposed to extend any help. In order to achieve India's cooperation, he proposed the formation of a Constituent Assembly and to provide dominion status to India at the end of the war. The proposal was rejected by both Indian National Congress and Muslim League and later led to Quit India movement. Wavell Plan proposed for reconstituting the Executive Council of Governor-General with equal seats to Hindus and Muslims. Jinnah rejected the plan and stood for separate Pakistan. Labour Party came to power in England and Clement Attlee became the Prime Minister. He admitted the right of Indians to frame constitution for free India. In 1946, it was announced that a cabinet mission will be sent to India to resolve the issue. As per the recommendations of Cabinet Mission Plan, the Constituent Assembly was established, presided by Dr. Babu Rajendra Prasad for making the constitution. Okay, now let us move on to the next points. So here what happened was the Constituent Assembly was made as a recommendation of the Cabinet Mission. Okay, so here the Constituent Assembly was framed. Okay, and the Constituent Assembly was established and it was presided by Dr. Babu Rajendra Prasad. Dr. Babu Rajendra Prasad. Okay. Okay, and it was presided by Dr. Babu Rajendra Prasad, and next thing was to make a constitution. The Constituent Assembly had to make a constitution. So for that, in 1947, the drafting committee for framing the constitution was set up. The drafting committee was set up and set up by the Constituent Assembly, and this drafting committee was under the chairmanship of the chairman of the drafting committee was Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Okay, so the Cabinet Mission came under its recommendation. First, the Constituent Assembly was set up, and this Constituent Assembly was presided by Dr. Babu Rajendra Prasad. Now in 1947, a drafting committee was set up by this Constituent Assembly for framing a constitution. This drafting committee's chairman was Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Now Congress accepted the proposal made, this proposal was accepted by the Congress. So Congress accepted this proposal, but the Muslim League rejected it. Muslim League rejected. Okay, so the proposal was accepted by the Congress but rejected by the Muslim League. And Clement Attlee, he declared the transfer of power, and it was declared on 20th February 1947. 20th February 1947, Clement Attlee declared the transfer of power. Now, after Clement Attlee declared the transfer of power, British government sent Lord Mountbatten. Lord Mountbatten was sent to India to transfer the power. Okay, to transfer the power. The transfer of power was declared on February 20th, 1947, and then the British government sent Lord Mountbatten for transferring the power to India. So like that, Lord Mountbatten was sent to India, and he achieved an agreement between Congress, and Lord Mountbatten came and he achieved an agreement between the Congress and the Muslim League, because Muslim League had not agreed. They have rejected the proposal. So he achieved an agreement between Congress and the Muslim League, but this agreement was based on the basis of partition. Okay, this agreement was on the basis of partition. And the Act of 1947, was actually, it was an extension of Mountbatten plan. Okay, so Mountbatten came to India to transfer the power, and he made an agreement between the Congress and the Muslim League, but it was based on the partition. And the Act of 1947 was an extension of the Mountbatten plan. So this is how the Act of 1947 was implemented in India. Now let us see what are the provisions of this Act of 1947. Okay, what are the main provisions of the Act of 1947? The first provision, if we see, the Act provided that on 15th August 1947, two independent dominion, that is, one is India and other is Pakistan, would be set up. Okay, and provided for complete transfer of power. So first provision was that on 15th August 1947, two independent dominions will be set up, that is, one is India and one is Pakistan, and it provided for the complete transfer of power. Now, what is the second main provision? The Dominion of India, okay, the Dominion of India will get territories of Bombay, Madras, Bihar, etc., Sindh, then Baluchistan, etc., which became the territories of Pakistan. Okay, this was the second provision. So the Dominion of India got the territories of Bombay, Madras, Bihar, etc., Sindh, Baluchistan, etc., which became the territories of Pakistan. That was the second provision of the Act of 1947. Now the third provision, okay, the third provision, that is, the Crown was no longer the source of authority. That is, before that, one more point is there in the second provision, that is, a boundary commission was there. Okay, that is, a boundary commission was established, and this boundary commission was formed with chairman, that is, Sir Cyril Radcliffe. Okay, was the chairman of the boundary commission. So a boundary commission was established with Sir Cyril Radcliffe as the chairman of the boundary commission. The next point is, the Crown was no longer the source of authority. No longer the source of authority. The Crown was no longer the source of authority. Now the fourth provision, the Governor General, as well as the provincial governors were to act as constitutional heads. Both of them had to act as constitutional heads. Okay, the Governor General as well as the provincial governors had to act as the constitutional heads. So that was the fourth provision of the Act of 1947. Now the fifth one, the office of Secretary of State. Secretary of State's office was abolished. Okay, this office of Secretary of State was abolished. Now, the sixth provision, that is from 15th August 1947, the British Crown. We already said that the British Crown was no longer the source of authority. And again it is said that from 15th August 1947, the British Crown lost all its rights of paramountcy over India. Lost all its rights of paramountcy over India. Okay, so that was the fifth provision of the Act of 1947, that is from 15th August 1947, the British Crown lost all its paramountcy over India. And the next one is the office of, the seventh one, the seventh provision, the power in each dominion. Okay, the power in each dominion was transferred to the Constituent Assembly. Each dominion's power was transferred to the Constituent Assembly, and this Constituent Assembly became a fully sovereign body. Fully sovereign body from 15th August 1947. Okay, so the power of in each dominion, it was transferred to the Constituent Assembly, and this Constituent Assembly became a fully sovereign body from 15th August 1947, and it was free to frame a constitution. From that time it was free to frame a constitution. And the Constituent Assembly, which we said is a very important body, that is the Constituent Assembly. This Constituent Assembly had dual roles. Okay, dual or double roles, that is constituent role and the legislative role. Okay, dual roles were there, that is constituent as well as the legislative roles. Both the roles were there with the Constituent Assembly. That was the seventh provision of the Act. Now the eighth provision, until the new constitution was framed. So now they have arranged for a drafting committee to frame a constitution, but until the new constitution was framed, okay, until the new constitution was framed, the Act of 1947, the Act of 1935 would govern the center and provinces. Act of 1935 will govern the center and provinces, and that is with necessary modifications. With whatever modifications are needed, that will be applied, but still the Act of 1937 will govern the center and provinces until the new constitution is framed. Okay, so till the new constitution comes, the Act of 1935 will govern the center and provinces. So these were the main provisions of the Indian Independence Act of 1947. And with the passing of this act, India and Pakistan became free nations. Okay, so that was the main provisions. So now just let us go through the points which we have studied till now. In 1947, drafting committee was set up by the Constituent Assembly under the chairmanship of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Congress accepted the proposal, but Muslim League rejected. Clement Attlee declared the transfer of power on 20th February 1947. British government sent Lord Mountbatten to transfer power to India. He achieved agreement between Congress and Muslim League on the basis of partition. The Act of 1947 was actually an extension of Mountbatten Plan. Next, let us see the provisions of the Act. The first provision, The Act provided that on 15th August 1947, two independent dominions, India and Pakistan, would be set up and provided for complete transfer of power. The second provision, the Dominion of India, which got the territory of Bombay, Madras, Bihar, etc., and Sindh, Balochistan, West Punjab, etc., which became the territories of Pakistan. Boundary Commission was formed with Sir Cyril Ratcliffe as the chairman. The Crown was no longer the source of authority. The Governor-General and provincial governors were to act as constitutional heads. The office of Secretary of State was abolished. From 15th August 1947, the British Crown lost all rights of paramountcy over India. Indian states were free to join either Indian Union or Pakistan. The power in each dominion was transferred to the Constituent Assembly, which became a fully sovereign body from 15th August 1947 and was free to frame the Constitution. The Constituent Assembly had dual roles, constituent and legislative. Until the new Constitution was framed, the Act of 1935 would govern the centre and provinces with necessary modifications. With the passing of this Act, India and Pakistan became free nations. Now let us see some question answers related to this topic. Mention any one important provision of Indian Independence Act of 1947. Any one provision they have asked. The Act provided that on 15th August 1947, two independent dominions, India and Pakistan, would be set up and provided for complete transfer of power. Here I have told only one provision. Any provision from whatever we have studied, you can write as the answer. Who was the chairman of Boundary Commission? Sir Cyril Ratcliffe. Explain the provisions of Indian Independence Act of 1947. That is all the points under provisions which I have explained, that is 8 points are there. All the 8 points you have to write as the answer for this question. Okay. So I hope you have understood all these points very clearly. In case of any doubts, you can ask in the comment section. And also don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel. Your likes and shares will be of a great encouragement for me to make more and more videos. So I hope to see you all soon in the coming video. Thank you for watching.